Warm greetings to all our online participants and viewers once again. I welcome you to our plenary session on UAV algorithms and analytics. Unmanned aerial vehicles have come a long way since their first deployment, passing from oddity to a commonplace operational necessity. With the increasing applicability of UAVs, a plethora of intelligent data analysis solutions are available to make unstructured drone data actionable and gain meaningful insights without time-consuming manual analytics. Our session, UAV Algorithms and Analytics, brings to you the know-how of intelligent algorithms and drone data analytic methods. We have two eminent speakers who will share their knowledge with us today. Our first speaker is Dr. Dharmendra Singh. Dr. Dharmendra Singh is a professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, IIT Roorkee. He is also the coordinator, RailTel, IIT Roorkee Center of Excellence in Telecommunication, Microwave Imaging, and Space Technology Application Lab. He has been a visiting scientist, postdoctoral fellow with Niigata University, Niigata, Japan, the German Aerospace Center, Cologne, Germany, and several other universities all over the world. He has published more than 300 papers in various national, international journals and conferences. His research interests include microwave remote sensing, electromagnetic wave interaction with various media, polarimetric and interferometric applications of microwave data, and numerical modeling, ground penetrating radar through wall imaging and stealth technology. May I now invite him to share his knowledge with us.
Thanks, Ista. I think that, yes. Thanks for a brief introduction and good afternoon to all. And it is very tough and it is very difficult to discuss so important thing in online mode, but I will try my level best as the session is for the algorithms and analytics. So I will be trying to discuss what are the challenges, what are the things, how we can detect with the various targets using the drone. So I am going to share my slide. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think that next 25 to 30 minutes. So I have taken today the topic efficient application of drone for railway track health and assets monitoring. So as you are seeing that railway track health and assets, a lot of very small targets, very narrow bandwidth, and all other things which we have to detect using the drone. So there you have to be a very good algorithms. There you have to have a very understanding of a very good data, how the drone are capturing or what are the things. So I will be discussing one by one. There are 3-4 subtasks for this. So myself, Dharmendra, and I am now heading the Computer Science Engineering Department of IIT Roorkee. I am also professor in Electronics and Communication Engineering, IIT Roorkee. And as you know that as a professor, no work can be completed without the help of the student. So in this work, mainly some students, my PhD student, Aradhya, Arun, Ankush, Deepak, Gopal. So list is there because whatever I am going to show you or whatever I am going to present here, it is a work of since last 4 or 5 years, not to work of the 1 or 2 days. So I will be talking about some objective, variety of information, some detection algorithm, what are the outcomes, then concluding remarks and if some queries are there. So I am not going to detail why drones are used for monitoring all these things. You can see that railway track and monitoring the railway track with a monitoring a railway track with a good height, with a small things. So I have mentioned that the track as well as health. This is the whatever with the images I am going to show. All we have taken nearby the Roorkee area only. So all the work which we have conducted in our lab. So that is the one of the main that is the one of the main aspect. So you can see that here drone is flying over the railway. So replacement of these inspection techniques with unmanned vehicles such as drones, and so fast, efficient maintenance operation with easy control and the susceptibility. A lot of things are there, a lot of important things, but various challenges are there, which I will try to discuss in later slides. So the first objective, multi-sensor integration for airborne platform, remotely sense stationary and moving object, railway assets by man-made or natural structure, objects in inaccessible terrain surroundings, railway track health. So these are some things we can do that. So why I am calling that drone has you can put different sensors on the drone, because drone is just like a carrier. It has its own challenge I will discuss, but different sensors where they are optical view, object temperature, brightness temperature, energy radiated, backscatter, and several features are there for the several sensors. But important is that how efficiently we can fuse or we can use the single sensor for detecting the various required target as per the end user requirement. So multi-sensor data fusion, you can see that. So fusion and the description. Description here means identification. As I have mentioned that, for example, a very small fish plate is there, very and the width of the two railway track is something like 165 centimeters. So narrowly you have to observe, detect the length and all other things. So you need a lot of expertise. And here the multi-sensor data may be quite useful for that. So drone application, we are working for the defense also, but here I am not going to discuss whatever with the for the defense purpose. But you can see that camouflage, vehicle tracking, target identification, subsurface detection, motion detection, human detection counting, all these things in our lab we are doing. And I am happy to share that last month we have opened in IIT Roorkee a drone research center. So I am coordinator for the drone research center also. So whatever with the things I am showing you, all the things we are working in our lab. So you can see that for civilian application, the precision agriculture, firefighting, search rescue, industrial inspection, crowd monitoring, surveying. So various where you want, it depends upon your cleverness. Where you want, you can put like that one. So detection and identification of various areas for precision monitoring. You can see that. So this is the Google Earth image nearby Roorkee. How the drone is taking the image. You can see. So while seeing that, because that I am not going to discuss, but you can see that this data we have processed, the while seeing that one of the very challenging task is the mosaicing. Yeah, how we can mosaic that. Today I was thinking that I have to discuss some mosaicing algorithm, but I thought that nowadays some softwares are available where you can do the mosaicing. But mosaicing is one of the most challenging tasks. So because if something wrong happened in mosaicing, then your georeferencing, geocoding, all these things will be gone, and then detection, identification, and tagging the target at a perfect location, it will be a great challenge. So you can see that this is the so very nicely we have mosaic the image. We have a capability here. What I am trying to see that so that I am talking the railway track, that target is very small, and that time your mosaicing and your all the algorithm, georeferencing, geocoding, mosaicing, all these things should be a very very precise. And we have developed the technique where we can do all the things very precisely. Drone mountable sensors, any high definition camera, sample of mosaicing already I have shown, multispectral imaging sensor. So you have a different wavelength, visible and non-visible, infrared and thermal. Nowadays, people are thinking to put the synthetic aperture radar also on the drone, but it is a very uh, costly affair. So we have a thermal, we have a multispectral, we have a simple camera, HD camera. Post imaging application. So these are the some basic things. Post imaging application, railroad track components, object detection techniques, and then the asset monitoring in drone image with the some deep learning, you can say that, or some advanced learning techniques. Now I am showing you the different rail components. You can see that here, this is a very important, very small juggle fish plate, and detecting with the drone one of the biggest challenge. The distance, you can see that it is approximately 167 or 165 millimeter. With this accuracy, you have to detect the distance, basalt, and you can see that this is a cross tie. This is a very small cross tie is there. So all these things are very important, and these all parameters we have to detect with the drone. You can see that fish plate, splice bar or joint bar is a metal bar that is bolted to the ends of the two rails to join them together in a track. Fasteners, tie plates, each tie plate on a tie fasteners on one rail, it forms two sides, namely the gauze area and the field side. So both side tie plate is there, you can see that. So that is that, you can see that. And after that we have anchors, longitudinal leveling defects, gauze, cross level. So several parameters are there which we have to monitor with the drone. The data taken by the sensor, onboard sensor of the drone. So that is one of the very biggest challenge. How is precisely we can monitor these things. Various object detection algorithms, we can use artificial intelligence, autonomous planning to robotically navigate in an environment with computer vision system, image processing, computer vision, automated image analysis of objects in images, pattern recognition, which is a very important. What you can see that there are a maximum the same type of objects are there. Either it is a cross tie or it is a juggle face plate. It is very difficult to see that. You can see that this is a very difficult to see that. So how to do the pattern recognition, how to define some pattern, how to identify some pattern, that is the one of the important thing. And then the machine vision, it combines automated image analysis with methods to provide automated inspection, robot guidance, mainly in industrial applications. So all these, some algorithms, some techniques are there which you have to apply for this one. So first, what we have taken the algorithm, that is the computer vision process flow chart. So you can see that this is the first drone image. So data capture. So here I am not going to discuss because we are trying that we can monitor these things with some good resolution satellite data also. But here we are the satellite image sensor, computer vision sensor. So image acquisition, image pre-processing. Pre-processing has a different steps, reduction of image noise, straightening of the image by rotation. So, and then image enhancement, object-based image analysis and segmentation, feature extraction, and then you can have a decision making where you have a artificial intelligence neural network, and then you can detect, and another important thing, you can classify the thing. So first, asset monitoring, such as cement slabs, pipelines, transformers, wire, walls, signboards need to be periodically monitored. Limited amount of data in some classes during inspection of railway assets in order to improve accuracy as the demand of the deep neural network and all, you must have a very huge amount of the data. You can see that object class for detection. All these work what I am showing, all we have done in our lab only. So you can see that this is the construction site. This is a cement slab here nearby that. This is a power brick. This is the some transformer. This is a garbage. And this is the construction side. Transformer wires. So that is very important. If it is a transformer wire or simple wire or the railway track, how you can differentiate that things. Apart from the class marked in the image on the left, some other classes includes walls, signboards, racks. What I am trying to show here, we have developed a capability. So whatever be the user requirement, we can develop some algorithms and we can detect very efficiently that target as per the user requirement. So we have used the annotation tool for doing all the things. So proposed flowchart, you can see that the drone image, the pre-processing division of image into 6 parts, training with the yellow, object detection, and then the prediction of a new test image. So this is the algorithm which we have. Later on, I will show you first how, because this is the for the asset monitoring. Later on, I will show you how we have done the railway track health monitoring and all of the things. So you can see that YOLO architecture. So different layers are there, and then you are solving, and this different layers, it is by the optimizing the results. Test result, you can see that. So here, image with persons as a object, very nicely we have detected the object. But you can see that there are some false alarm also. That's why again, this is the one of the challenging tasks, how to reduce the false alarm. You can see that 1%, 2, 3, 4, 5% are there, but here something is there. So how to reduce the false alarm? This is also a big challenge. So we are working on that, how to reduce the false alarm while increasing the detection accuracy. Image with cement slabs, you can see that there are some cement slabs are there. So whatever with architecture we have designed very nicely we have here also that cement slab is there. So very nicely we have detected the cement slab with the computer vision and artificial intelligence algorithm. So again, so image with the construction racks, rocks as object. So here you can see that nearby the railway tracks, some racks, some rocks, something is there, and very nicely. So very nicely you can see that very small rock is there in this one here. So and this portion. And this portion. So what I am trying to say that whatever be the algorithm which I have shown that using the neural network and the YOLO network, it is very fruitfully we have detected this one. Observations, sorry, what we have observed, false detection, misclassification in case of many classes. So proposed less number of class considered. So if in future we have considered only less number of class, then there is a less possibility of the false alarm and all other things. So according to the need, we can change our requirement. So here we have changed. We are now concentrating on the 3 classes only: power brick, construction, and the transformer. So you can see that this site And you can see that this is the construction, means this is a garbage, and this is a transformer, this is a some construction side. So, and once we are have this type of data, we can, you can see that whatever be the box here, very easily we are detecting all the things. This is the power brick. So power brick means the power cables are placed there. So very nicely we are able to detect that. And here there is target, but it is not detecting as the power brick. So this is again very important how the algorithm is working very nicely. You can see that all the things, power construction side, it is a construction side, it is a construction side, then the transformer, construction side, all the mix. So our algorithm is very nicely separating all the things, either it is a construction side or it is a uh, or it is or it is a power line or other things. So, and another very challenging task once we are saying that the brightness of this, if the image is taken at what brightness, means at the what sunlight was there, either it is evening time, midday time, or morning time. So we have calibrated all these things any time from morning to evening. If you are taking whatever algorithm we have developed, it is going to work very nicely. So you can see that for this power line, very nicely we have detected this one. So all these things are very nicely detected. Scope area estimation approach can be explored in future railway track asset monitoring. Consider more number of classes. So as I have mentioned that we have developed the capability to detect and identify the different classes. Vision-based rail track extraction. Now the second task, as I have mentioned that I am trying to discuss the algorithm part. So vision-based rail track extraction and monitoring through drone imagery. So detect, we propose the solution for following issues. Detect and label the linear railway track from a given drone image. Extract the distance between two tracks and report if found distance is outside the permissible range. As I have shown you that the distance is something like 167 mm. So we have taken the permissible range 167 plus minus 5 mm. So you can see that data acquisition by seeing this, and here mosaicing, I am not showing one of the result. Once any problem in mosaicing, then whole the railway track will be distorted. Looks like it distorted. So image resolution was the 4000 by 3000 DCI Phantom. Data pre-processing. So pre-processing, ortho rectification, mosaicing. GSD is very important. That is the ground sample distance. What is the distance? And here you have to, because your target is fixed, we have to detect the distance between these two. And this is a 167 mm only. So GSD is very important. What the resolution you have to put. So we have put here resolution something like a 2 centimeter. According to at that height, you have to fly your drone and whatever the things. Crop and resizing, noise removal, weather conditions such as illumination and fog. So all these things you have to normalize and minimize. So you can see that this is the image. This is the image at the evening time. This is the image at the very bright time. And once you are doing any image processing, then until unless you are not normalizing or you are not doing some image processing steps to normalize or to scale in the same scale, so then it will be very difficult to propose a adaptive or a single any algorithm. So we have what we have done. We have changes the color model, HSB color extraction. We have changes the color. You can see that this is the color. We have changes in the color because we want that this brightness effect may be minimized. Then the edge detection and track detection. So applied the edge detection. Image is converted in grayscale image, Canny edge detection, morphological operation, binary image, and then the RGB image is using nearest neighbor. So you can see that the red line very nicely after the all three steps, 1, 2, and 3. Very nicely we have detected the railway track. Then gauge measurement, for measuring the gauge, as I have mentioned that ground sample distance is very important. What would be the ground and this CCD pixel size is width of the sensor in centimeter, image width, and gauge is GST multiplied by number of pixel count in that one. So we have computed the gauge. So railway track, image acquisition, aerial image, HSV conversion, color extraction, convert image in grayscale, find region of interest, Canny edge detector, track detection, gauge measurement, error detection, and then once it is full, if it is S, mark point in the range, or if point is not in range, then mark the stamp that hey, where is the problem, and then you go to the next frame. So you can see that this is the approximately 160 we have put plus minus. So approximately for all the along the leg track, we have detected the uh, the distance between the two tracks is approximately 162 or 163 centimeter. This is in a permissible range which we have assumed. So you can see that actual gas, once we have taken the different altitude, 375, 382, 373, 380, actual gas 167, and what are the errors? So because here we are also interested at what distance we have to fly our drone with a particular camera, so we can have a minimum error. So you can see that in this, if you are flying at 375, this one, that error is very minimum. We have developed automatically. You have in real-time processing, we can do all the things. So just I am showing the GUI, and it is giving the latitude, longitude, minimum, maximum, whatever be the things, and it is giving the location. If some location the distance between the two track is more or less than 167 plus minus 5 mm, then it is detecting the place also. So third task, novel adaptive framework for railroad track extraction. So track extraction, as I have mentioned that if track extraction is again, because there are a lot of challenges. Here till now I have shown you the very simple track. Only two tracks are there. But here once you have a number of more than one track, you can see that this track, and here it is very, two tracks are crossing there. Then how presence of poles beside the rail lines, oil line between the rail lines, railroad tracks, area illuminated irregularly. You can see that here something like that. Train running over railroad track, catenary wires. So a lot of things are there. So again, this is a big challenge. If this type of a complex structure is there, then how you can detect the track. So drone data, image enhancement, edge map creation, candidate rail line detection, hop space evaluation, GST based line pair selection, coordinate system transformation based on the railroad track extraction. So this is algorithm 1. Algorithm 2 we have applied. You can see that the HT GSD based detects railway lines image at D1. Very nicely we have detected. Red color showing the railway lines very nicely we have detected. And here for the second image also, for D2 image, here also very nicely we have detected the rail lines. So you can see that three corresponding tracks. So means whatever with the algorithm we have developed, it has a full capability. It has a full capability to full capability to detect the railway track in a very complex structure, also in a very complex scenario also. Results of HTGST. So then we have applied a number of images, D3, D4, all the images. You can see that very nicely. Assets age detected as a railway line here. This is the Cantonese wire detected as a rail line. So these are the, you can see that this is the wire and it is detected as a rail line. So then after that we have improved, because you can see that these are the not railway lines, what the four lines it is showing. So if it is a wire, so how to minimize this? So we have developed that one also. Task 4 was the feature-based template matching for faceplate detections. You can see that this is a faceplate. So joggle faceplate provides emergency repairs, helps maintain steadiness, essential for a smooth passage of trains. So many other. So how to this one? So again, this is a big challenge. By seeing this, you can't see anything here. Focus on the automated detection of the juggle faceplate, quite difficult. Quite difficult to locate from the high altitude. Implementation of automated vision based technique, fast and efficient. So you can see that. And it is the image taken at the 25 meter. So as I have mentioned that all the images are taken nearby the Roorkee region. So we have developed a methodology: track extraction first, annotation of faceplate, pre-processing of annotated faceplate, we have computed the different features, how it is going to different from the track, calculation of the separability index, whatever be the features, which features are greater, then the separability index is more than one of the features, then we have taken that features, and then we have applied the NMS threshold, and then so potential joggle faceplate, if it is a green, ground tooth annotated joggle faceplate, it is shown in blue, and non-detected faceplate location, it is shown in the red. So you can see that. Step first, track extraction. So very nicely, as I have shown you that we have why we are showing that if it is a different orientation. All these things are very important once we are processing the images captured from the drone. That that because orientation, this, that, a lot of things are there very challenging. So second part, annotation of the different, you can see that here, the fish plate, blue and white boxes encompass juggle and non-juggle fish plate. So blue boxes here, this is the fish plate is there, white box, there is no fish plate. So you can see that here we are seeing the fish plate, here no fish plate is there. And then we have detected the features, different features, and you can see that this is the positive sample, negative sample, different type of template, different type of features we have taken. So you can see that different features, so many features, whoever be the sensitive to detect the fish plate we have taken, and then we have developed the separability index, and then we have calculated the separability index for the different features, and according to that we have selected the features. So, and you can see that as mentioned that red one is not detected, blue one is this one, and green was detected by our algorithm. So green one, a lot of false alarm is there, but a lot of false alarm is there. But what we are seeing that the detection accuracy is quite good, and we are working on that how to reduce the false alarm. So after that, we have used the mask CNN based model to detect the fish plate, and then the same division into overlapping images. This is, you can see that this is the correctly, this is the fish plate, and once we have used the, so here there is no false alarm. So here, once we are use the mark CNN, then very nicely we have detected the fish plate. So here also, if you'll see that actual fish plate is here, the other fish plate correctly predicted, and these are some false predictions are there. But with some knowledge based, we can reduce the false alarm in the future. So you can see that with false predictions, some correctly. So means accuracy is 100%, but some false alarms are also there in the algorithm. So you can see that. So what I can conclude that drone system with multi-sensor customized integration of target detection and identification, the full expertise we have, and we are working for a different agriculture, as I have shown in the second slide, that we are working for the different defense as well as the some civilian application also. So if anybody has some question, thanks for your patience.
Thank you, sir. So there is a question that how many parts was the aerial image divided for fish plate detection, and can the model be trained on single images of fish plates?
No, model cannot be trained on the single image of the fish plate, and that we have optimized because there are three things. Once we are seeing that once we are observing the fish plate, there are three things. Railway track is there, fish plate is also with the metal, and surroundings are there. So we have selected, we have optimized because it depends upon what is your pixel resolution at the ground. So pixel resolution, for example, it was the ground at the 2 centimeter. So we have taken approximately 20 by 20 pixels. So 40 centimeter by 40 centimeter, something like that. And according to that, we have divided our image in that part. So it is basically the template matching. We have made the template of that 20 pixel by 20 pixel. It depends because as I have mentioned that the resolution, ground resolution is very much depending upon at what height your drone is flying. So according to that, and that is a very tricky thing. So you have to do a lot of experiment to this one. Nobody can say that this is a thumb rule or whatever with that.
So the next question is there any possibility of detecting the rail fasteners?
Yes, we are doing for that. We are working on that. Rail fasteners also. I have shown you that. I have shown you all the 8 components. We are working just because it was it is less time than 30-35 minutes, but we are working on that also. How to detect the rail fasteners.
And sir, like the rail fasteners are occluded, like there's a lot of leaves and garbage and trash on the railway tracks. In such cases, what could be the possible solution of detecting them?
So no, what we are trying to apply for the deep learning here. The deep learning will be the one of the, I think that one of the best, because identification, because a lot of garbage, lot of things are there. So we are trying for that one, and for in this case, two things are very important. Maybe false alarm is more, but detection accuracy should be the maximum. So doesn't matter, and some rough ideas are always there as a knowledge base. What is at what distance fasteners are, we are putting the fasteners on the type rate. Also, what is the distance, all other things. So according to that, you can see that, okay, yes, fasteners are there, maybe 2-3 more fasteners, as you have seen that in the type plate also. We are detecting 100%, yes, it is detected, but 1 or 2 nearby other things are also detected at the time, but doesn't matter.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much.
And I think we have a next speaker.
Okay.
May I request Dr. Omkar to please switch on his video and unmute himself?
Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So you want me to share my screen?
Yes, sir. And your video also.
Oh, yeah. I'm at home, so.
It's absolutely fine, sir. You can share the screen.
How long is this presentation? I'm sorry. How long is this presentation?
Sir, you have 30 minutes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Warm greetings once again to all our online participants and viewers. Our second speaker is Dr. S.N. Omkar. He is the Chief Research Scientist, Control and Guidance, Department of Aerospace Engineering, IISc, Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. His research interests include uninhabited air vehicles, autonomous navigation of UAVs, helicopter dynamics, satellite image processing, biomechanics, composite design optimization, and structural health monitoring. He has published more than 140 articles in leading international technical journals. He is also the convener for the webinar on use of drones for agricultural purposes, standardization, industry perspective, and way ahead, organized by the Bureau of Indian Standards, and the convener for the webinar on standardization of UAV subsystems, organized by the Bureau of Indian Standards jointly with the UAV Lab IISc. He is also the panelist at the Vaibhav Summit, Global Summit of the Overseas and Resident Indian Scientists and Academicians. May I now request Dr. Omkar to please share his views with us.
Thank you. I'll be making a brief presentation on computing. Rather, it is the UAV based, how to fly the UAV, what kind of computing is involved, and also the UAV data analytics. So both put together, we call them as drone computing. That is the algorithm needed to drive the drone, and also the data analytics or data deciphering using the drones. So I'll make a brief presentation of some of these things that we have been working on. So first we'll start with the this kind of a situation where there are obstacles. This is quite common, especially in agriculture. Obstacles can be there, and you want to drive a drone through these obstacles. Yes. And especially when the GPS is also not available, what do we do? So we have developed some algorithms. You can see here, this is a part of the drone computing as applied to drone driving. So as just Arduino board is sitting on the drone, and this is a texture-based algorithm. On the right, you will see how where the minimum texture is computed and the drone goes through that. So this is a supervised algorithm. Of course, this is real-time autonomous. The whole computing is done on the drone platform. So this is a very light algorithm, obviously, because you should be able to handle the computing that is possible, and also minimum power requirements, etc. This is one thing. Then this actually has some problem when you have a tree branch that is horizontal in nature. So then we stepped on to other algorithms called the optical flow algorithms. So that also we have done. This is the optical flow. Here we compute the optical vectors, and this is the our IISc campus, the thick trees. We have a lot of such places on our campus. So we have tested there. This is optical flow based technique, and in both the techniques we have just used a monocular camera, nothing else. And this works very well. This algorithm is also very light, and if you want to use a stereo camera, you will get the depth information better and you can have a better algorithm. But for that, again, the computation involved will be more, and in some cases that it may be necessary. But in general, we have demonstrated that a simple monocular camera can do a lot of this obstacle avoidance very successfully. Then you consider a situation like this, the pathways. For example, there is a military convoy which has to go in a forest, a pathway, and you do not know what is ahead. And you want to get some information upstream, what is happening. You can send a drone, get the situational awareness, and then make decisions to move forward. So we came out with an algorithm which would actually detect the edges of the path and will center itself and move. So this is the road identification and tracking algorithm. So this we have developed, as you can see here. So this drone is again our campus, Indian Institute of Science. So this drone centers itself and moves at quite a reasonable speed, about 40 kilometers per hour. So that is the thing. So it can move quite fast. So it does that path following at a quite reasonably high speed. So as you can see, this is purely again vision based and completely autonomous. There is the drone platform does not talk to any other ground-based systems. Then autonomous landing is another very important aspect. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to look at where all the use of computers can be effectively used for the drone. So we are looking at drone driving. In driving the drone, what are the possibilities? You saw a couple of them, and now you will see the autonomous landing. So one is this GPS based. You have from a platform it will take on, take off, and then it has to come back and land on the platform of the on the ceiling of the car, rather on the roof of the car. But this, is purely GPS based, and purely GPS based will not actually work very easily. You have to be very lucky if you want that to work in purely based on GPS, because GPS locking does not take place that easily. The accuracy of GPS is easily plus minus 3 meters, but on a good day, yes, you could do that. But it will not work in general. Therefore, we used some static markers, ARCID codes, April tags, what you call. It can take off and it will come to the vicinity based on GPS. Then the camera latches on to the signboard, and there are codes that are put, and there is also a center place where the drone has to perch. You will see how it does that. There is a downward looking camera. Once you recognize the board, it will center itself. There are 4 codes. As you know, there are difficulties involved with regard to the field of view. As the camera comes closer, the field of view changes. So that is the actual challenge. So right side bottom, you see how the computations are going on, as seen by the camera, which is mounted on the drone. So it comes there and then perches exactly at the center. Then what happens in a moving platform? Like this, for example, from ambulance, it has to take off and ambulance starts moving. Then the drone alerts the traffic police ahead. And as the ambulance is moving, it has to come back and perch onto the ambulance. So for these, we have developed some algorithms. Then the terrain hugging. is an interesting application in agriculture. In agriculture, especially in Northeast and also some of the coffee and tea estates, the topography is very typical with a slope like what you are seeing. And if the drone has to fly, if it just flies on top, then there will be this obvious geometrical projection errors. So the terrain hugging is very important. So what we do is the imitation learning algorithm. That is what we use. The basic philosophy is that you recruit a expert pilot to maneuver on this, measure or record the input of the expert pilot, and measure the response of the drone. Then you train a machine learning based algorithm to do that. So we call it as one-shot imitation learning. So I'll not go into the details. There is data set collection. You can fly a drone or use a game like this to create your own data set and then use the same data set, because after all, these are all keystrokes to maneuver. And then this is the implementation, final implementation. This is purely on imitation learning. It goes. Well, a lot more need to be trained. Well, this is a octocopter with a nanomister. It generates a mist, but this has why I've shown this is in agriculture. You want to go to a particular location. See, you can use the algorithms we have developed. You can use the image processing to know the leaf condition. Go there, and this is a nanomist generator, what it is carrying. That nanomist is very important because many times there are a lot of infections on the bottom of the leaf. So these nanomists have the ability to penetrate very easily and helps the plant to grow healthy. On paddy health and yield estimation, we have done some work in Kerala. I'll show you some of the details. We have used a multispectral camera, and we just used a fixed wing, which can have an endurance of about 15 minutes. There's a very small vehicle with about 3.4 kg as the all of weight, and about less than 2 meters span. And what we mounted was a multispectral camera which can give RGB plus NIR and red edge. They are very useful in agricultural things. So this area is Palakkad in Kerala. So what we do is we plan the whole flight plan, the waypoints in the lab, and what you can see is the flight plan. You see this land mover pattern, and well, they're so close because you need to have a 70% overlap from one scene to another scene so that you can stitch them properly. So actual path followed will be somewhat like this, because the radius of turn for the aircraft will be something like this. So this is the RGB image, and each of these multispectral 5-band images you can see here, the red, green, blue, NIR and red edge. So all these things can be used to derive a lot of agricultural parameters. We have looked at only one, that is called NDVI. So here is a summary of what all it can do with these images. You can compute several indices, but we have focused only on NDVI because it is very easy to interpret. Normalized difference vegetation index. If this index is less than 0.5, that crop is unhealthy. If it is more, then that crop is healthy. So that is what it simply means. So these different indices we have computed how it looks. The advantage is by looking at these things, agricultural expert can derive a lot of information. For example, NIR reflectance, primarily for imaging the vegetation. NDRE is sensitive to chlorophyll content, so you can identify the stress on the leaf, etc. So here it is, we did the NDVI and we found out what is healthy and diseased crop. Once we found out, we also asked the agriculturists to identify whether that crop is healthy or diseased, and ground truth also confirmed that this crop that is shown here was indeed diseased. Then we talk about this low altitude remote sensing. We have worked on the yield estimation of the tomato because about 70 kilometers from Bangalore, there is a place called Kolar where a lot of tomatoes are grown. And as you know, it's a 3-month crop, and the prices can vary heavily from 80 paise to 80 rupees per kg. So that is the kind of variation that you can see. What we have done is we have gone to that place, flown our UAV, captured the image. Then first we used a simple self-organizing feature map. We extracted the tomatoes. We overlaid the original image and the detected image. See, the matching is quite good. But we did not stop here because this is purely pixel-based approach. Then we use the machine learning algorithms to do this same thing as object-based detection. So here are the results. The tomato detection using object detection. So you see various boxes. Around each tomato there is a box. You can recognize that. And so number of boxes is equal to number of tomatoes in any scene. You can directly get it. And the size of the box is proportional to the size of the tomato, which means you know approximately what is the size of the tomato. You can calculate the yield very easily. And the RGB values are there through which you can actually find out the texture of the tomato. So this will help to grade the tomato. So if it is put on a cloud, you just fly your UAV, load the image, it will stage and it will tell you what is the yield, what the grade of the tomato. Then the purchaser can look at this and directly contact the respective farmer. So this has a very wide application if it is implemented on a proper platform. A closer view is here. Of course, this was very well covered in newspapers. We did get a lot of appreciation from the government authorities also. The other application is tree crown extraction. there is, for example, the canopy in a forest. You don't know what are the species there. This we have done in our AIC campus. We flew a drone. Now the whole idea is to identify what type of species are there. So you use a simple classification algorithm, then you will get plenty of what information about what species. So these are all the classification. Of course, this is supervised algorithms. We have used a variety of algorithms, including neural networks. This is another application where we have used what is called as the extreme learning machine. So this is the arecanut or banana plant or the coconut tree. For all these, this can be applied. Tree crown detection. You can count the number of trees. You can also get the information about the health of the crop. So this we have used a extreme learning machine. Then we looked at another commercial crop, the mango yield estimation using deep learning. Mango, just take, there are in a mango grove, there are plenty of trees, each with different canopies. You can take photos of few of them, and if you can identify the number of mangoes, the size of the mangoes, etc., just what we did in tomato yield estimation, same thing can be done here, and you can get the information using the machine learning. So these are some of the intermediate results, but in machine learning it is multiple layers. We use something like a convolutional neural network where it will extract a lot of information, the layers in between. Ultimate result is this. The original image will be something like this. And if you closely observe, you see the boxes around each mango. Yeah. So the boxes, number of boxes is equal to number of mangoes. And of course, the size of mangoes, so you get the yield. So for one tree we do, generally you will know the canopy, that is from the top, how wide it is, what is the area, that you can compute, again using drone. So for a canopy of this, what is the yield, So different canopies, you compute the area, then you will be able to estimate the tomato yield. So here we have done this for one tree. Then we use what is called a semantic segmentation using the GAN, that is the GAN network for mango tree crown detection. So there is a generator and a adversarial combination of networks. It will do all this delineation and then give you the result like this. So you can pick up the canopies itself. Thus you can compute so this is the overall architecture what we have used. Let us not discuss about this, but it's possible to estimate the yield of the mango. Then we have done another algorithm called the drone surveillance system. This is called the eye in the sky, because a lot of activities like protests, etc., keep taking place. These days, drones are being used, but the drones may send the video feeds, but you are not sure whether it is possible to monitor all these visual feeds from the drones, because If there are 20, 30 drones sending the visual feeds, it is impossible for human to track what is happening where. So we thought whether if we can develop an algorithm to detect the violence activities using the drone imagery. So that's what we have done. So detection of the violence activities. So this was presented in a leading conference, and this gave us a lot of mileage for our lab. So this is what we call a suspicious activity detection. So this is done with one of my student, Dr. Amarjot Singh. So this is the case, a lot of rights, etc., and some sort of actions like this, chain snatching or protests. If you can pick up and alert the police, then they can take action. What we did, this is again IISc, and this is we have a small airstrip in IISc. These are all the students in our lab. We did a mock drill because any ML and DL algorithm need a plethora of data sets. So we generated a lot of data. We used that to train. So we developed the overall system like this. The step one is first you have to detect the human through his posture. We used a feature pyramid network to detect that is a human, because in a situation, if you detect two bulls or two dogs fighting as violence activity, then there will be a lot of false alarms. Therefore, first thing is you have to detect the human. Second one is, of course, very important, the pose estimation. So we use another what is called a scatternet hybrid network. This is a deep learning architecture. It can extract all these things, information like kicking, punching, etc., whatever you define as the violent activity. So pose estimation, once you do that, then you can get the orientations. Then once you get the orientation, you can do a simple classification using support vector machine. So as you can, then you can classify that particular action as either violent or not. If it is violent, it can raise a red flag and give the lat-long location to the enforcing authorities. So here it is. The other important thing is you can identify multiple violent activities in a scene. Okay. So for this work, BBC interviewed us. You may not be able to hear, but still you can just see. I'll cut it off in a minute. So this work actually gave us a lot of, this is my student, Dr. Amarjot Singh, and this gave us a lot of mileage in terms of the work that we have been doing in this direction. Okay. Then we did one more algorithm. This is not to do directly with the drones, but I will tell you how it was also useful in drones. So this is called as the disguised face identification. These are all before COVID, mask and all those things, when we were not used to wearing masks. At that time, we were interested to find out what if somebody wears a mask, can you really identify who he is? So we use a 14-point architecture to identify. So facial recognition, use a 14-point. Then see, these are all our lab students. You can wear a mush or a beard, wear a mask, wear a goggle, whatever you do. Still, but through that you can identify who he is. So this is what is done. So you can see a girl wearing the beard and mush. Still, it is possible to find out or pick out. So we created a huge data set for these things by using variety of masking techniques, and then picked up. See, this is a girl wearing the beard and a mush. So variety of things we tried, and a reasonable accuracy we were able to do this identification of the disguised face. Now the reason why I showed this is from this short film called Slaughterbots. Now here there is drone and there is face identification. So this is not a good example, but still for appreciating the technology, it must be quite okay. So here is a small drone on top, which is AI enabled. So it has a lot of vision capabilities. It can do obstacle avoidance, etc. And it has a very powerful processor. It can do facial identification. It can identify any person you give, and the worst part, rather, it also carries a bullet, a small bullet, which is powerful enough to kill a person from a close range. The reason why I'm showing this is just to what you are seeing on this video is a clear possibility. See, it has to identify the mannequin and it hits. So that is the thing. So some of these things technologically we should look at, where how powerful is these techniques. Of course, it must be put to a good use, but these are things that are quite possible. Then we have worked on rogue drone detection. We don't want rogue drones to enter our premises. So through camera, can you identify the drone? So that's what we have done. We just did a simple work to know if we can detect the cameras. I mean, detect the drones through cameras. Then we worked on the detection and rescue of flood survivors using UAVs. We understand. I'm sure I'm running out of time. I'll quickly wind off. So we have developed an algorithm which can identify the humans, the other cattle or any animals that are caught up in the flood. So here are some of the examples of we detected, even if they are on rooftop or if they are on the road or crossing the river, you can pick up and you can know how many people are there, where they are. This will help the rescue authorities to plan the evacuation in an effective way. Well, this is also something, but I will not spare time on this because this is a mobile application, I guess. Well, I think about the drone, I think that is what I had to share. I am also running out of time. So if you have any questions, I shall be happy.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation and sharing the information with us. We have some questions. The first question is by Chandrahas. He wants to know how can real-time onboard processing in UAV be done?
Well, there are computing platforms. It all started with the Android. Now there are several other advanced computing platforms that have come. The whole point is yet your algorithms have to be light, because if you want to be real time and computing on board, you must necessarily take care of the processing speed and your limitations on the algorithm itself. But it is possible at least to implement some of these algorithms. With time, the processing speeds are definitely improving. So that is the hope. As you know, every year the size will come down by nearly half. The speed will increase nearly 10 times. So given that, I think there's a lot of hope you can implement a lot of these algorithms on board. But you have to plan.
Thank you, sir. There are a couple of questions from Ganesh Khadanga. He wants to know, in the MangoSeg algorithm that you used, in the MangoSeg using GAN, what are the input images and how many images were used, as well as how mango count is done? How are you counting the number of mangoes?
I think to save time, please go to Google and on my name, please search. We have published this paper.
So,
You will get all these details very easily there.
right, sir. There's another question, sir, which I would like to ask. In your the particular algorithm wherein the drone is flying and the edges of the roads are being detected, and then you're finding the midpoint and the drone is finding its path as per the middle point of the road. So what happens when there is a crossroad? How does it decide the path? Which path does it take?
Yeah, that's a very good question. This is, you have to resolve this disambiguity. So that is quite possible, because if you know which way to head, that can be specified, where to head towards. So based on that, it can decide which path to take.
So,
So
but
that
yes, will that not mean that GPS is required in that case?
Oh, that's another good question. See, if you want to know where to head, a couple of things we need to understand. One is, of course, if GPS is available, it is going to solve the problem. Very simple, because heading direction you can make out. So generally we assume that GPS is available. But there are other alternate approaches through which this can be possible, including you can use these mobile towers triangulation method to know which way to head. Or if you have a good video processing capability on board, you can also look at the other heading frames for better information and judge based on that.
Thank you, sir. I think that would be the end of all the questions. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. We are very grateful to you for the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll take the session, close the session now.
Thank you.